On March 6, 2024, a woman called emergency services from her home in West Palm Beach, Florida. Her daughter, Kelvi McCray, was found dead, shot by a man who had just proposed to her. This crime occurred in a city known for its beaches and shopping, but also for its high crime rate, with 1 in every 211 people experiencing violence. Kelvi became part of this statistic. At 18, Kelvi was ambitious and dedicated. She excelled at Inlet Grove High School in academics and athletics and had a keen fashion sense. After graduation, she pursued interests in modeling, singing, and social media. Although her success was limited, she remained resilient. Kelvi's focus wasn't solely on fame. She worked hard to support herself and her family. She ran a hairstyling business, helping others feel confident, and stayed committed to her family's well-being. Even with a bright future and a loving family, Kelvi faced difficulties in her personal life. She had been in a relationship with 19-year-old Keyshawn Shaw since high school, but things were far from perfect between them. Although they put on a flawless appearance at prom, their relationship was plagued by issues that eventually ended in tragedy. Welcome to No Tears for Black Girls, a true crime series created, written, and produced by award-winning writer John Reedberg and hosted by Samantha Paul. Keyshawn was familiar with Kelvi's family, as he often spent time with them, but nobody could have foreseen the unfortunate events that unfolded between them. The relationship between Kelvi McCray and Keyshawn Shaw lasted about a year, but it was tumultuous and filled with arguments and makeup. Despite their rocky dynamic, Kelvi had a kind heart and allowed Keyshawn to live with her and her family when he claimed to have nowhere else to go. It's unclear why Keyshawn was homeless at a young age or what his own family was doing, but Kelvi's family showed him kindness by offering him a place to stay. However, this living arrangement undoubtedly added stress to their already troubled relationship. Small disagreements may have escalated due to the strain they were both under. As time went on, Keyshawn's frustration and resentment grew until he could no longer suppress his darker thoughts. Even after many arguments, Kelvi finally decided to end the relationship in January. This decision was difficult for Keyshawn to accept, and he persistently tried to reconcile with her, according to close friends. However, Kelvi stood firm in her decision to move on. Despite ending things with him, Kelvi did not completely cut Keyshawn out of her life. He still lived with her family because he had nowhere else to go. This did not stop Keyshawn from trying to win Kelvi back through emotional manipulation. But she refused to give in to his games, which only seemed to fuel his feelings of rejection and anger, ultimately leading to his unjustified actions. The tragic events that unfolded on March 5, 2024, were not some distant occurrences, but a chilling reality for those involved. It began with a desperate call to 911 from Kelvi, reporting a violent assault by her ex-boyfriend Keyshawn. As law enforcement searched for him, Keyshawn's actions only escalated. He led police on a dangerous car chase before evading capture and ultimately returning to the scene of the initial incident. It was at this point that Kelvi McCray, unaware of the danger looming in her own home, was enjoying a FaceTime call with friends. In a matter of moments, their light-hearted conversation turned into a nightmare as Keyshawn burst into the room and opened fire to Kelvi. Despite the best efforts of Kelvin's mother and responding officers, she succumbed to multiple gunshot wounds. The brutality of the attack was witnessed in real time by helpless friends on the other end of the screen. The community was left reeling from this senseless act of violence, and it quickly became clear that Keyshawn had carefully planned his attack. Having lived with Kelvi in the past, he knew how to enter her home undetected and carry out his sinister plan. In the aftermath of this tragedy, questions swirled about why Keyshawn would commit such a heinous act. But one thing was certain. Kelvi McCray's life was cut tragically short on a Wednesday evening in her own home, a place where she should have been safest. Her friends will forever be haunted by what they witnessed through their screens that day. The police quickly transported both Kelvi and Keyshawn to St. Mary's Medical Center, But sadly, Kelvi did not survive her injuries. She passed away later that evening, while Keyshawn died the following day. The community was heartbroken by Kelvi's death, and a large group gathered at Singer Island to honor her life. With balloons in her favorite colors, purple and pink, family and friends filled the Riviera Beach Municipal Beach Park. 1 week after her passing, they held a vigil as a heartfelt tribute to Kelvi's life, taken too soon by violence. Marla McKinney, Kelvi's mother, shared her pain and grief, remembering the night when she lost her daughter. She recounted hearing the shots and seeing Kelvi on the floor every day since then. It was unimaginable that such a horrific crime was committed by someone who had been welcomed into their home. Despite the constant pain, Marla found comfort in the support of those who loved Kelvi. The vigil was a beautiful reflection of Kelvi's bright personality and love for the beach. As candles were lit in her honor and attendees shared memories and prayers, it created a circle of love and remembrance. Ricky Aiken, Kelvi's uncle and family spokesman, spoke about the collective grief felt by all, emphasizing that it wasn't just about losing Kelvi, but also how she was taken from them at such a young age. He lamented that she would never have the chance to grow into an amazing woman. He also emphasized the need to protect young girls and educate them on what to do if faced with a similar situation. At her funeral service, Kelvi was remembered for her wonderful character and personality through graceful decorations. She was laid to rest looking peaceful and stunning as ever, leaving her family with one question. Why didn't the police try to protect Kelvi after she had been threatened by Keyshawn the day before? The police had been monitoring him prior to the shooting. It was clear that this teenager posed a threat to the community. And even though it may have seemed like postponing his arrest for just 1 day wouldn't have made a difference, ultimately it resulted in Kelvi losing her life. Although they attempted to apprehend him before the incident, they failed to offer Kelvi protection by relocating her to an undisclosed location. Our next tale delves into the life of Lauren Smith Fields, mere hours before the tragic events that transpired in Bridgeport, Connecticut. At only 23 years old, Lauren had already connected with an older man on a dating website. She told her brother about their upcoming date, a white man she met on a dating app. Lauren had no idea that by the following morning she would be found dead, lying on blood-soaked sheets. Disturbingly, the police did not appear to investigate the suspicious circumstances of her death. A police report described a 911 call from Lauren's apartment on December 12th, made by a 37-year-old white male named Matthew LaFountain. The investigator noted that LaFountain shook visibly as he recounted what happened. We met on Bumble and took shots of tequila. Lauren got sick, but then we played games, ate, and watched a movie, LaFountain said. I carried her to bed and fell asleep beside her. But when I woke up around 6:30 a.m., she was on her side, blood coming from her nose, not breathing. Lauren grew up in a loving family who knew her as a bright and ambitious person from a young age. Her 3 brothers, Kyle Fields, Lakeem Jeter, and Tavar Gray, reeled from the shock of her untimely death. Born on January 23, 1998, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to parents Chantel Fields and Everett Smith, Lauren left behind a void in her tight-knit family and community. Her gentle soul and promising potential were extinguished far too soon. Throughout school, Lauren excelled in academics and athletics. Her future shone bright with possibility. At 23, though, curiosity led her to try online dating. She created a Bumble profile, hoping to find a meaningful connection. Our next tale delves into the life of Lauren Smith Fields, mere hours before the tragic events that transpired in Bridgeport, Connecticut. At only 23 years old, Lauren had already connected with an older man on a dating website. She told her brother about their upcoming date, a white man she met on a dating app. Lauren had no idea that by the following morning, she would be found dead, lying on blood-soaked sheets. Disturbingly, the police did not appear to investigate the suspicious circumstances of her death. A police report described a 911 call from Lauren's apartment on December 12th, made by a 37-year-old white male named Matthew LaFountain. The investigator noted that LaFountain shook visibly as he recounted what happened. "We met on Bumble and took shots of tequila. Lauren got sick, but then we played games, ate, and watched a movie," LaFountain said. "I carried her to bed and fell asleep beside her. But when I woke up around 6:30 a.m., she was on her side, blood coming from her nose, not breathing." Lauren grew up in a loving family who knew her as a bright and ambitious person from a young age. Her three brothers, Kyle Fields, Lakeem Jeter, and Tavar Gray, reeled from the shock of her untimely death. Born on January 23, 1998, in Bridgeport, Connecticut, to parents Chantel Fields and Everett Smith, Lauren left behind a void in her tight-knit family and community. Her gentle soul and promising potential were extinguished far too soon. Throughout school, Lauren excelled in academics and athletics. Her future shone bright with possibility. At 23, though, curiosity led her to try online dating. She created a Bumble profile, hoping to find a meaningful connection. On December 8, 2021, a match with Matthew LaFountain, 14 years older than Lauren, sparked intrigue. Their mutual love of travel ignited engaging conversations. Lauren eagerly anticipated the chance for romance as they set a first date for December 11th. No one could predict the terrible turn that encounter would take. Unaware that her date with Matthew LaFountain would be her last, Lauren's lifeless body was discovered 3 days later, savagely murdered. Investigators uncovered Matthew's history of violence as the prime suspect. Lauren's love of travel, the very thing that sparked their fast connection, had sealed her tragic fate at the hands of a man she trusted. At only 23, Lauren Smith Field's promising future was ripped away, her life cut short by a Bumble date turned deadly. Lauren lay on the bed, her body cold and still, killed by a lethal mix of drugs. Matthew, her supposed friend, answered the police's questions, but they quickly dismissed him as a suspect. Desperate for the truth, Lauren's family refused to let her death go unexplained. Her mother rushed to Lauren's apartment, calls and texts unanswered, only to find a cryptic note on the door, a cover-up for what really happened to Lauren. The discovery hardened their resolve to get justice for a daughter discarded like garbage. Days passed before police finally searched the crime scene. Crucial evidence missed: the blood-soaked sheets, scattered pills, abandoned liquor cups. The family took action, determined to expose the incompetent police on social media and through the courts. Even as celebrities rallied to their cause, Lauren's family was ignored and silenced. Her mother wept as they buried Lauren right before Christmas, overcome by anguish at the loss of her beloved daughter. This story laid bare how an innocent Black woman's death was ignored, while crimes against white women got attention and resources, an injustice that drew outrage and demands for justice from voices like Cardi B, who refused to stay quiet. Enraged at the media's slanted take painting Lauren as a girl mixed up with an older man, Cardi B fought back against their biased spin. She called out how young Matthew looked and slammed Connecticut officials for failing to bring Lauren justice. Cardi's public stand pushed Bridgeport police to reopen Lauren's case, which they first dismissed as just an accidental OD. The family's lawyer praised Cardi for making the police finally take it seriously. Deeply grateful, Lauren's family credited Cardi for bringing crucial visibility to the case and driving the fight for justice. Under pressure from Cardi, Bridgeport's mayor disciplined 2 officers for bungling the investigation, and the supervising officer retired. The family also launched a GoFundMe to pay for their own investigator, girding for the long battle ahead to unearth the truth of Lauren's death. To honor Lauren's memory, the family organized marches and protests demanding justice. On Lauren's 24th birthday, they rallied in Bridgeport for police accountability and change. They also fought for Lauren's law requiring police to notify families within 24 hours of identifying a deceased person, a push to spare others their same grief and confusion. But even after all their work, justice for Lauren remains elusive. Matthew LaFountain walks free, and the case sits stalled. Still, Lauren's family carries on the fight in her name, determined to protect others by reforming a system that failed their daughter. The road is long, but they'll never stop demanding the justice Lauren deserves or let the world forget her. Thank you for tuning in to No Tears for Black Girls, now a part of the Alive Podcast Network, the first Black female-owned and operated network dedicated to amplifying Black voices. If you enjoyed this episode, please show your support by following us on the Alive Podcast app, available on both iPhone and Android. You can also stay connected with us on social media and YouTube at No Tears for Black Girls, or on X at No Tears for BG. Remember to stay loved, stay blessed, and stay safe. Until next time.